afternoon everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Saturday the 22nd of July and a week today. I was prepping the 205 ready for the Persia Festival adventure, and what a day that was. A day to remember. Really good. Even though it peed it down a couple of times, it really made no difference to my day out. Really good. Had a fantastic journey there and back. The 205 didn't miss a beat, but there was just the slightest of issues. I might have mentioned this before, but yeah, the front coilovers seem to be bottoming out. So I've been on the in contact with Peugeot, Peugeot one off, and basically I'm gonna have to take the coilers off the front of the car. Bit of a pain in the backside, but they need sorting out. What I was finding was on certain bumps, on certain roads, that they would actually bottom out, and with them being mounted solidly at the top, it made for a fairly horrible racket, really. Horrible shell type impact sounds. I didn't like that at all. So it did it a couple of times on its way to the MOT station, but having spoke to AVO at the time, because I couldn't get through to the guys at Pug One Off, they advised that they're normally sent from AVO on the minimum setting, i.e. on 0, so you go from 0 to 26. So he recommended to dial them up, stiffen them up a little bit, so just the bump and rebound on them. So I dialed them up to 16 and just went for a quick spin just to the outskirts of the village and back, and it seemed okay. However, until it transpired, it came out to the woodwork again, and along the way to Prescott, it was terrible in some places. So yeah, they've got to come off. They've got to come off for Invest. It's just not right. And Matt at Put One Off has been emailed me yesterday, quite late on, and full credit to Matt. He's gonna get them sorted out. So but yeah, thumbs up to Matt for that one. So yeah, today's job is to fit the engine shim kit that I bought at the festival, the Persia Festival. I also bought a couple of fog lamp covers from Desborough Designs. I also bought the headlamp covers, which I think look really good, to be fair. They look really good, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. It's all good. So yeah, I'm going to back the car up, drive up on a couple of bits of wood, as I normally have to, because it's fairly low, to get past the sump, because the sump are quite low on this one, is light low on this one, because it's got the GTi 6 sump in there. So I'm going to do that, get the wheels off to get the centre caps off. Then I'm going to have to relower it back down again once I put the wheels back on, so I can crack open the hub nuts and all that malarkey. So it's a bit of a pain in the bum, but I can't get the centre caps off the wheels the way they are, because there's only a really slight amount sticking up, and I don't want to go up putting anything metal in there, because I'll scratch the wheels and damage the caps. So I'm going to put the camera on a time lapse, so we can get this sped up a little bit, and we can have a look at the coilovers on the bench when they're off. So I'll see you in a bit. Right then, welcome back. So that's that's everything set up now for the removal of the coilovers. So it's also a good good opportunity to have a look at the brakes. Like I said, because you can see how everything is bedded in nicely, nice and dry behind there. The pipe's all good, well rooted, nice and dry around here. And just looking at the shock again, really is, you can see that where it's travelled to, you might be able to see just a light tide line there, but it's, I can see it's got all the way up to the top, which is, don't think is right on there. But yeah, got the hub nuts off both sides, so basically it's disconnect the whole lot now really. So I'm trying to figure out whether I take the whole hub off or I try and get it off without. Not quite sure. I think I'll make that decision in a minute. So it's time for a drink and a bite to eat. This is lunchtime. So right, welcome back. So I decided just to take the whole lot off really, and I'm trying to split the strut and the hub in situ is just easier. So TV drive shaft's off, bottom joint, bottom arm is off, calipers off, steering rod, track rod end is disconnected, as is the drop link. So it's basically now time to slacken off the spring seat, which is done by opening this. It's fairly low anyway, so it's about 10mm really from the last thread, or the first thread even, whichever way you look at it, first or last, up to the spring seat. So it wasn't too low, so travel should have been okay on it. So I'm just going to take pressure off, so I can now grab the 24mm and loosen off the top mount. And of course I have now created a problem for myself. I should have cracked them off. I should have cracked them off before unloading. Dear me. Right, okay, amateur mistake. My bad. See you in a minute. Right, welcome back. Fortunately for me, it was a case of closing the spring seat up again, back up again, just to compress it a little bit, and I got the impact gun out on it, and it, you know, the top nut just whizzed off nice and easily. So happy days on that one. So we'll do the same on the other side. See you in a minute. Right, that's the first shock coilover boxed up. I hung on to the box just in case. I always do with anything new I buy really. So this time around I've slackened the coilover, the top nut, call it nut, whatever you want to call it. So everything is slackened off. Of course, you slacken this to be able to move the spring seat. So that's all loosened off now. So it's a case of disconnecting the caliper, 2 bolts at the back, taking that away, pulling it out from the bush, protective bush in here on the strut, bringing them back. Then I'll disconnect this, and like on the other side, I will hang the caliper on the tyre rod, and that obviously the disc will come off at that point, and I'll put the disc underneath the car and keep everything clear. So, but yeah, I looked at the other coilover. There's no leaks. It was wet. It wasn't wet. It was nice and dry. But you could see where the insert had travelled it all up, but by about an inch or so from the very top, which I wouldn't have expected really. But yeah, it is where it is. We're back in this situation. Hub's off. I've checked it all over. Checked all the caliper over. I'll give that another clean. I'll give everything another clean before I put it all back together. So that's this side done. So now to crack on with the passenger side. So I'm going to put this on a time lapse, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, so that's the second one off. So got it on the bench. So as you can see, it all seems dry, but you can see there's this shite on there. So I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, and whether something's burst inside it or not, I don't know. But this is the passenger side, which seemed a little worse than the driver side. But yeah, time to pack them up and get my way down the road. So plug one off. We're going to get Evo to organise a courier to collect, and yeah, we'll hopefully get them back in a week or two. So I can get them back on the car, so I can carry on enjoying the car again. I did have the option of putting the original struts back on, but I've got rid of them. So yeah, that's no longer an option. So let's put the handbrake down on the car very carefully, and so yeah. 400-mile journey last Sunday, and before that 100-mile journey the Sunday before that. So it's done 500 miles. The shocks are now off, which I definitely wasn't expecting to happen at this stage of the game. But there we go, there's another void now either side. So yeah, that's them off. Just time to pack, get them away down the road and get them back as soon as possible. So next job on the agenda is to put the engine top mount spacers. So once I finish packing this coilover, we'll make a start on that. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, welcome back. So it's time to sort out the engine, top engine mount shims. At the minute I've just got washers in there, so I'm just taking everything off. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to remove the engine mount to get the bush out to take the washers off, because the actual shims themselves are slotted. Just there. So as you'll see, they're slotted, and they go in like that. But unfortunately, I think I only need one thick one on this side. So unfortunately, to get this off, to get the washers out, I have to remove the top mount. So I'll have to have, of course, have the engine and a jack under the engine just to support it, so I can take this group end buffer out. There's a BBM one, and basically get this into situ. So the engine doesn't rock a whole lot, but just a little bit, so that the washers look shit. So I'm basically going to get it sorted and put a decent shim in there. So I think I'll be okay with a thick one. So yeah, happy days. So going to get the jack in position underneath the engine with a wooden block underneath it, so it doesn't damage anything, just to hold the engine up. And I'm going to go ahead and crack off these 4 bolts, and then this one, the mount, will lift off. It'll be a bit of a laugh with all the pipework in here, but it'll do it. I've done it before, so it'll be good. So yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Right then, I've got the engine supported into the car with a jack and a wooden block. because of course it's a cast aluminium sump, because it's the 306 GTi one. So cracked off all but one of the engine mount bolts. So it's, right, so that one's loose, and this one as well. The third one, I haven't cracked this one off yet, for obvious reasons, before I put the jack in underneath it. Right, so just take a little bit of the weight on the engine. Let's drop down a little bit more. So I think we're pretty good there. That's 1, 2, 3. You can always gauge how we're getting on with this, because the mount moves now. If it doesn't move when you got to the last nut, you need to sort out what's underneath holding it up. So I ratchet on the deck, get that nut out, and that one out. Right, so that's the top mount away. Get the buffer out. Yep, on the floor. That is. There you bar steward. That's the spring washer. Right, got that. So that's the washers away from there. Where did that go? Okay, that's there. So the washer, the nut is kind of stuck onto the paint there, so that's a bonus. So, right, those the washers off. And put the buffer back in place. Of course, there's a keyway to put it in the right place, and that of course is down below here, and then that goes on. So if it doesn't go in, then that's where you're going wrong. So this washer's now come out. Okay, back on there, spring washer unlocking it on these. So I'm going to put this on in a bit. Let me just get the engine mount into place first. Right, let's get all the bits off, so these don't spill into the engine bay. So just these back in there. Okay, hold on. I just discovered that this mount is loose. Right, okay, we're back on. Do it again. Remove those. Right, so get the nets on. I get this one here, which is a little bit more awkward than the rest, but easy really. Spread the washer on the main mount, and let's get that on there. Right, let's start to get these down and in the right place. Right. So this one. Okay. That's nice and tight. I'll go for this one. And that one. There we go. Okay, finally tightened on that one. Right, so that's those four down and done. Let's take this one. Okay, that's all toilets down and tight there. Just going to drop the engine back now. There we go. Back on its mount. And it's now time to work out how we're shimming. And I think it'd be pretty good with that one. So let me just tap that into place. It's going to be a little bit snug, but I think it'll do. There we go. It's in situ. So let's get this tightened up, and then that's job done. There we go. That's that sorted out. So I'll hang on to the rest of the spacers. These washers can do another job. There we go. So we'll have to touch up the nuts on here a little bit. They're looking a bit shit now. To put an airline onto the engine as well, actually blow the shit away. There's quite a lot of shit that's built up now. Excuse me. One of the things I hadn't done before Pugfest was actually go around all the engine bay, tidying up, giving it a bit of a good clean. I didn't do anything before I went to Persia Festival, but anyway, that's the way it is. So right, that's it for today. It's just a waiting game now, waiting for the suspension to come back, and then we'll reconvene. I'll get recording again once everything's back, put everything back together. We'll take the car down the road for a test drive. Fingers crossed it'll all be resolved, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next episode. So stay safe everyone, thanks for watching, see you again soon.